Hi, this is my screencast for the field-based activity 4. Here I am examining the future school. So I am describing the future school, particularly in ways to work collaboratively with parents to engage them productively in the work of the school. So there is no gainsaying the fact that education is the best way for any society to escape poverty and build for a better future. Unfortunately, Nigeria has many out of school children, especially in the northern part of the country. At first glance, one may chalk this reality up as a result of a high dropout rate of students from educational institutions. But the truth is that this number is not only due to the lack of government funding for proper education system, but also due to the inability of teachers and parents to form a synergy in the educational development of children. This trend will continue if the Nigerian government not only continue doing the same thing, but also if teachers and parents fail to establish the adequate collaboration needed for the renaissance of education in Nigeria. To really chart the way for a better education, there is always need to establish the reason for the comatose state of education in the country. Many analysts have suggested that the poor education budget in Nigeria has, in no uncertain terms, dealt the educational sector a heavy blow. For instance, the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization UNESCO recommend for the education sector in the developed country to perform at optimum. The allocated budget should be between 15% and 20% of the entire budget. This figure is a far cry for the reality of what has been allocated to education in recent years in Nigeria. The highest allocation in the past 10 years has been 10.78%, which was made in 2014. In 2010, it was 7.9%. 2011 was 9.32%. In 2012, 2013, 2015, and 2016, it was 9.86%, 10.15%, 10.78%, and 7.92% respectively. For 2017 and 2018, the figure was 7.4 and 7.04%. Irabo also moves to 2019. Comparing these numbers to that of other African countries, they fell in comparison, and it further highlights the inadequacies in Nigerian budgets. Some countries have had similar realities as Nigeria with their educational sectors, but have turned their fortune around with conscious, well-timed and deliberate actions, creating evidence-based solutions to make their educational system better. These solutions have often been reached not only through governmental interventions, but more especially through sincere and honest collaboration between teachers and the parents. This is to say that solving the educational problems in these days has gone beyond spending blanket sums of money on the methods and the techniques which are, to be honest, outdated. On that part of the government or managers of schools, they should make sure that competent qualified candidates are employed based on their specific area of specialization. You cannot employ someone who studied English language to teach mathematics and so on. They should make sure salaries, gratuities, and entitlements are paid as at when due, and teachers adequately motivated. They should also have the willpower to reprimand not only lukewarm students but also lukewarm teachers, and even relieve some teachers of their duties when there is need. Running a school should not be commoditized the way it is currently being done. Schools must have openings for children of the poor, Today, it is worrisome that most religious schools are unaffordable for the common child of the common man. This should not be so. In this direction, focus needs to be made on evidence-based solutions. These evidence-based solutions are based on sincere cooperation of the two most important agents of a child's education, the parents and the teacher. Education specialists at the Asian Development Bank (ADB) carried out an educational benchmarking exercise of a country's educational system to better understand what was a critical factor regardless the country's context. Results showed that greater financing was not a predictor of improved skills. Countries where parents had access to quality information and data about students' learning outcomes and school quality fared a lot better. With this, the importance of data and information when trying to improve education has been established. In this case, there should be central core of information for the Ministry of Education in Nigeria, a central core that reports straight to the key stakeholders who implement change that influences the sector. What exists now is not central enough, hence why there cannot be appropriate check and balances. It is why some things fly over heads. Nigeria needs to go beyond just throwing money at the same thing that have been yielding the same result. Investment in data and the information needs to be prioritized to establish a better future for education in our country. Compiling data of every child, knowing their details, their performances, their skills set, and any other important personal information that affect the child. Data of teachers, management of the schools, tracking usage of infrastructure are all valuable. With these data, focused and well-targeted changes can be implemented. These changes move the needle because they are based on facts and not just bogus assumptions. This is because in the future, no one will pay for the knowledge they can look up. So we need to make the future of our youths ready. Derek Smith, 2019. From the foregoing discussions, it is glaring that there is a great urgency and need for a comprehensive school reform. According to my discussion with Dr. B. Iwuna, my field educator, this reform has to do with admitting the fact that things have gone wrong and need to be addressed. This reform should also involve the reform of mentalities and psyche on the part of the students, teachers, and parents. Focusing on teachers' development should be a top priority. Substantial investments should be made into the teaching sector, teachers in society in general. As I and my field educator concluded in our discussion, the content of vocational and technical education is too broad and in depth in scope and teaching. Learning process and time frame hardly correlates and therefore cannot achieve in students what it's supposed to achieve. To attain the desired future or goal for education, educators, especially teachers and parents, must be creative and integrative. Parents and teachers should create a synergy with companies as regards the skills required in securing jobs when their students or children graduate, and make the changes to their teaching according to the feedback. This includes teaching to produce more entrepreneurs and not just laborers. This is the reason why Dr. Stephen Oluwatobi said, if we are going to advance, then we need to innovate, and knowledge is needed to innovate. Recommendations. The society should be enlightened on the benefits of vocational and technical education. This can be achieved through conferences, workshops, and seminars. This is in order to change the negative attitude towards vocational education. The government should improve the implementation of the sister system of education, which is based to these ideas. Thank you for listening to my podcast. I appreciate your effort. God bless you.